30 days, 1 tablet every morning, before brushing. I tracked every week, with notes. Here is my completely honest, day-by-day account, including the week where I almost quit, the moment that convinced me it was working, and what I would do differently if I started over. Background: my oral health situation before ProDentim. I want to give you context because everyone's baseline is different. Before starting ProDentim, my oral health was what I'd describe as fine but frustrating. I brushed twice a day, flossed regularly, saw my dentist every 6 months. Despite this, I had persistent mild gum bleeding when I brushed my hygienist, called it mild gingivitis, at every visit for years. I also had morning breath that my partner politely described as significant despite brushing at night, and I had been using Listerine Coolmint every morning for probably 8 years, thinking it was helping. I was not in bad dental health, but I had 2 problems that good hygiene hadn't solved. This is important context, because ProDentim is most relevant for exactly this profile. People doing everything right who still have persistent gum sensitivity and breath issues. Week 1. Days 1 through 7. I'll be honest, if you're expecting dramatic changes in week 1, you're going to be disappointed and you might quit too early. I almost did. Here's what I actually noticed. Day 3. The first thing I noticed was subtle. A slightly different quality to my morning mouth. Not dramatically fresher, but the intense acidic taste I'd been waking up with was slightly muted. I almost dismissed this as placebo. Day 5. I woke up and noticed that familiar thick overnight film on my teeth was marginally less pronounced. For context, this film is formed by overnight bacterial activity, specifically the adhesion of streptococcal bacteria to the salivary pellicle on tooth surfaces. The reduction, though small, was real. Day 7, end of week 1 assessment. 2 small but real changes. Slightly lighter morning acidity, slightly less pronounced overnight film. I was cautiously interested but not convinced. I noted that these results would be completely dismissible as placebo at this stage. Week TWO days 8 through 14. This is where the experience shifted meaningfully, and this shift aligns directly with the probiotic. Week 2 to 3 is typically when colonizing bacteria establish sufficient populations to produce measurable effects. Day 10. Brushing at night, I noticed I was bleeding less. For me, bleeding when brushing the gum line had been a consistent occurrence. Maybe 6 or 7 times out of 10 brush sessions. By day 10, I noticed I'd gone 3 consecutive brush sessions with 0 bleeding. This was notable enough that I wrote it down. Day 12, something I hadn't anticipated. My breath was staying fresher longer into the afternoon. Not host post-brush freshness, but genuine all-day improvement. My partner mentioned, without me prompting, that my morning breath had been way better this week. Day 14, end of week 2 assessment. Gum bleeding reduction approximately 70% from baseline. Morning breath measurably improved. I stopped using Listerine entirely on day 11, based on the research showing mouthwash disrupts the colonizing probiotic bacteria, and my breath still improved without it. This was the moment I recognized something real was happening. Week 3, days 15 through 21. Week 3 brought the most unexpected result of the entire 30 days. Day 18. Routine dental cleaning. I hadn't told my hygienist I was doing anything different. She examined my gum tissue and said, "Without prompting, your gum tissue looks noticeably healthier than your last visit. Less inflammation along the gum line, less puffiness." I had been seeing her for 4 years, and she had always mentioned my mild gingivitis. This was the first time she didn't mention it. I told her I'd been using an oral probiotic for 3 weeks. She said she'd read research on lactobacillus strains for periodontal health, and it made biological sense. These strains specifically colonize the gingival sulcus and produce antimicrobial compounds that reduce the pathogen load driving gingival inflammation. Day 20. I noticed my teeth looked brighter, specifically the front teeth, where I'd had some light coffee staining. Not dramatically whiter, but visibly cleaner. The malic acid in the formula had been chelating surface stains for 3 weeks at this point. Day 21, end of week 3, assessment. Dentist confirmed gum improvement. Visible tooth brightening. 0 mouthwash use. No regression. This is when I ordered the 6-bottle package. Week 4, days 22 through 30. The final week felt like consolidation rather than rapid change. Day 25. Gum bleeding was essentially eliminated. I could brush firmly on the gum line without any bleeding. For someone who had experienced this consistently for years, this was significant. Day 28. My overall mouthfeel throughout the day was fundamentally different. Less acidic, cleaner, more comfortable. Not a dramatic sensation, but a consistent background improvement that my previous self would have noticed immediately. Day 30 final assessment. Let me be systematic about what actually changed, and by how much. Gum bleeding, reduced from roughly 70% of brush sessions to near zero. This is the most dramatic and consistent change. Morning breath, dramatically improved. My partner's assessment went from significant to fine. This is the change most people care about, and it's real. Tooth color, subtle but visible brightening of surface staining. Not whitening strip results, but noticeable. Gum tissue appearance, dentist confirmed improvement in inflammation and puff. Overall mouth comfort, measurably better throughout the day. What I would do differently. Start with the 6-bottle package from day 1. I ordered a 3-bottle starter and had a 5-day shipping gap when I reordered that broke my consistency streak. Probiotic colonization resets when you miss multiple consecutive days. The 6-bottle covers 3 to 6 months of continuous use. The full period where compound effects develop stop mouthwash from day 1. I waited until day 11. In retrospect, the mouthwash was undoing some of the colonization work. Earlier elimination would have accelerated results. Important purchasing note. The product that produced these results is available only through the official ProDentim website. My link is in the description and in my pinned comment. Counterfeit versions exist that don't contain the real formula and won't produce these results. The official site offers the 6-bottle package, 3 free bonus digital guides, and the full 60-day money-back guarantee. If you try it and don't get results, contact their support within 60 days, return the bottles, and get a full refund. My 30-day assessment. ProDentim is the most effective oral health intervention I've added in years. For anyone with persistent gum sensitivity or chronic breath issues, despite good hygiene, this addresses the root cause. Try it with the guarantee. Judge it for yourself.